welcome everyone. We are speaking with another amazing guest speaker for our International Women's Day, and I'm here with my beautiful friend, an amazing subject matter expert, Anna. And I'm sure that she doesn't need any introduction. She has been in this space, and I'm sure that many of you are following her on LinkedIn. She's what I have been telling her that you are a queen of LinkedIn, and specifically in the compliance space. She has done such an amazing job, and she is an inspiration for on so many levels. And I'm so excited to have this time to speak with her, get her to know her more. And she's gonna talk to us and share her story and her experience with us today. So, welcome, Anna. So great to have you today with us.
Thank you, Susan, for the amazing introduction. Actually, it's the first time they call me the queen of LinkedIn.
Yes, that is
Oh,
the name that I'm associating it with you. So,
yeah.
you have been such an inspiration. Um, and I just want you to tell us and the people who are listening a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background.
So my background, I started about 25 years ago in a banking institution. Yes, you can now guess my age. I don't have any issue with that. So yes, 20 years ago in a bank. And I started as a frontline employee. From there, you get a lot of experience. At that time, we didn't have any strong AML program, AML standards. Yet we did some basic KYC account during account opening process. And as the years passed, I was involved in all aspects of the retail banking. But half of my professional career, meaning from the 25 years, 14 of them I was in the same position. Although I was doing multiple roles, my title was customer service officer. So for 14 years, I had the same position in the same bank, and 9 of those years was in the same branch. So you understand, no matter how many times I asked to take me to another department, it never happened for any reason. So you understand now that I had this background. I was familiar with all aspects from conducting transactions to checking transactions to supporting the manager there to from loans also every aspect. This of course gave me a very good experience, not only, and that's how I started in AML. I saw how cash is used for money laundering, how cash-based business are used for money laundering, how loans, repayment of loans, and all these type of things. I could see the transactions, suspicious transactions in the customer's account. We had to report suspicious. We had to interview customers without noticing in some cases. This is how I started. Well, it was a bit disappointing for me, but I understood that if I wanted to move on, I should quit. And when I found an opportunity, they gave a retirement scheme to all staff. I took it and I left. From there on, I was involved in some companies, some freelancing. The good thing for me is that I always love to learn and expand further on what I already know. And that was my benefit. And when I progressed from there, I had some non-executive positions. I had some executive positions as the years passed. And then I worked as a compliance officer in a Forex company. I was both involved in the investment regulation and also AML at that point. And at some point when I was between two jobs, I was unemployed. I have decided to test LinkedIn and try to show my writing skills to people hoping to find a job. I found a job in the meantime at that Forex company while I was while I started, I was already doing content creation on LinkedIn. And yes, what I have realized is that when I decided to start, uh, I was dedicated to keep doing that. I mean, posting on LinkedIn once every while will get you nowhere. Everyone was saying that at that time. So that was my problem if I start posting, because it was for me a rocket science to push the post button. Am I going to be able to do that consistently? But yes, I did it, and today the results are really good. I have developed some really good partnerships. I got some really good friends. So yes, I'm really happy with where I am today.
That's fabulous. Um, Tell us a little bit about, your journey from the time that you started posting. Like you started, like not being an active LinkedIn user until having around 47,000 followers within a very short amount of time. Tell us more about, what was your journey like? What inspired you, to start this and how you kept on going and having that consistency in you.
So when I started posting on LinkedIn, first of all, uh, I I subscribed on LinkedIn. I joined LinkedIn in 2014. I remember because I saw something that they have sent me. 2014, I started posting. I think it was December 2021, early 2022. So for many years I was inactive. It wasn't an easy thing for me because I'm very, very introvert and I hate popularity actually. Yes, I never like it when people, popularity overall. It's not my style. But I never expected that. So I said, okay, I'm going to start posting. Worst thing scenario, what's gonna happen? People will make fun of me. So, they already make fun of me, so nothing to worry about that. Even if I don't, I still have these people. Uh, Good case scenario, I'll find a job because at that time my husband was also unemployed. I was doing only some freelancing, very small income, two kids to raise. It was a very difficult period of my life. And that's where I decided that, okay, I cannot find a job. I'll take things in my hand. Instead of trying to contact the employers, I was sending about 5 CVs every single day and got no response. So I said, okay, let me use the other way around. So that was another reason for me to start posting. I'll show who I am, hoping that someone will appear. And it took 3 months consistent posting, and I got an offer from a company. But then after a year, not a year, 2 years, 1 year and a half, 2 years, I went full-time freelance because of the some opportunities that came up on LinkedIn. Now, the growth, okay, when I started, it was easier to get followers. There was a point that I got 100, more than 100 new followers per day. How?
Wow.
I don't know. Yeah, I was also impressed, and I was like, what's going on? It appears that people simply like my content. And now it's much less, of course, but numbers don't matter. And I've noticed that LinkedIn, that the number of followers, they are declining and increasing. Declining and increasing. I don't know if you saw that, Susan. Apparently, LinkedIn is removing some people who are either inactive or they are bots because I cannot control who follows me. Unfortunately, I wish I could have this ability. But yeah, even with these changes, I'm still at 46,000, 47, do you say here? So I'm not sure. I believe the reason I got all these followers is simply because they find my content useful.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
reason.
That's really powerful, Anna, because as you said, like LinkedIn always update its algorithm. It's always, like remove, the followers. And followers really doesn't matter. Um, it's then what matters is that what kind of impact you are making to everyone's life. And what you have created is an education. Like a lot of people come to your post or looking forward to seeing your post because it's always something new to learn. Or even if you know about the topic, like for example, one of your posts that was differentiating between KYC and CDD, that went viral with like almost 6,000, kind of reaction. And I don't know how many, perhaps reposts, but many
5,000
people,
reactions, 5,000, and it was 450,000 views.
wow,
The
that's,
reason is because it was the first one. It was a period of my life where I was looking to the post, and I thought, okay, and it was in 2022, I think, with the old algorithm. And I thought, okay, how can I explain someone what is the difference between the two? Because they are using the same way. And what actually the post said is that it doesn't matter how you use the two terms as long as you do what you have to do.
yeah,
And there were many people who tried to copy that post or present it in on another way. But what I realized is that whatever you do, and this is what I also do, when you copy what other people are doing, you will not succeed. It's like you came second, including me. Okay, so that's what differentiates me from other content creators. I don't, I never do something that someone else is already doing. Now you're going to tell me there are many people who are doing educational posts on AML. When I started, there was none because I was trying to find people on LinkedIn to learn more about how AML has evolved since I was in a bank and now what are the changes, and couldn't find one single creator on AML. That's why I focused there, because there was nobody. If there was, I wouldn't do that. I would find something else to do. And that's the beauty of content creation. You decide what you're going to talk about.
yeah, absolutely. No, I love what you do. Please keep on doing what you're doing because that has inspired many to start even, posting on LinkedIn and, creating content and being able, to grow their followers. We all look up to you because you have created something very, very unique by being yourself. And I think that's what I love about your content. It's you. No one can be Anna. And that's how you're differentiating yourself from anyone else.
Nobody can be anybody else, though,
Absolutely.
right? Nobody
Yeah,
can be Susan also.
absolutely. And I think, that touch that every one of us has on the contents that we create, it creates that, like our audience, the way that, we want everyone, to get. What I love about like when I want to post, I always love my inspirational posts because I really love to create that dynamic so that I could create more impact on another person. Specifically, my journey into Canada has been something that I always go back to because I remember like where I started, from where I came to create even, the company TCAE. And I did not know any single person when in a country that I had no idea even how to start. So that kind of, story gives hope, gives inspiration, and that's what my kind of always message try to be, to inspire more people, and you kind of, educate more people by bringing, like different obvious things like that KYC and CDD, or even, like other things, but giving yourself, that touch, that aspect of looking at it on a different lens. looking at it in a different view. So I'm very impressed by you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you very much. It's indeed, it's inspiring and I receive many messages that people are inspired by me. They call me with various titles. Okay, I don't want to say now anything about that. But overall, when you see that your content is appreciated, it's this is you don't need any other motivation. You don't get paid for what you do as a content creator, but you're making an impact. You're building your reputation, who you are, and people usually appreciate that, appreciate the effort. Now, regarding the content and post, yes, I agree that you need to add your personal touch. And every time before I push the post button, I'm thinking, would I read that if I was a bank employee or an AML professional or an executive director or a non-executive director, since I was in all of these positions? And if there's something useful for them, people are going to respond to your efforts. And this is what I'm trying to do, because AML is about, most of it's about common sense. I cannot say, and I never do say in a post, how to comply with this requirement of this regulator. This is not what I do. I'm focusing on principles. Okay, the principles behind AML and how to do your job in an efficient way.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the most important thing. Um, to raise that awareness, to raise some of the posts that I always read from you is like they are thought provoking. You let people think about, that specific concept. And that's what I love, for people when they are thinking about it, that, oh, I know the concept, but how about thinking on it, in a different angle or different way. So very inspiring. Love that, people are actually come to you and telling you that how much, they love your posts, because these encouragement, it's always needed in this space, because like many, as you said, like it's not what you're doing because of the money that you would be getting paid, but it's the love for the community that you do what you do. So that's very good, and I really encourage all the listeners as well to do the same thing. um, Keep encouraging content creators, because you have no idea how much time it takes to create a single post. And I really appreciate everyone who do take time and creating a little bit part of, their day, and specifically daily routine, if they're doing it constantly, to create contents to inspire you, to educate you, to basically have an impact to the community that we have.
Yes, and the truth, it requires if all this, if you calculate all this time on a weekly basis, that's a huge amount of your time. And for me, it's like I know that in the morning or once per week, I'm going to dedicate that much time for my weekly content. And it takes time, but it's like, some executives, they have specific time for A, B, C. I also have specific time to create a post. But yes, it has to be of good quality, not to be like textbook knowledge. Everyone can, I mean, if your post it includes information that can be found in another 100 places, probably nobody will read it. So, and this can be achieved if you start practicing,
Yeah.
start creating content, and slowly, you will find yourself in the content. It can be, what I always say, focus in an area. It doesn't have to be enough. It can be anything you like, anything you're good at, any area. Start writing content on that, and you have nothing to lose. Okay, some time, but it was for me. It was faster to do this, to find a job through content creation rather than looking for jobs, sending CVs here there for more than 6 months. 3 months. It took me 3 months of content, of creating content to draw someone's attention.
That's fabulous. I
Mhm.
always tell newcomers who are coming to Canada also to create content. And it's very intimidating, at the beginning, because you have all these voices around you that will tell you not to do it. What if my friend is thinking about, what I'm writing? What if my, colleagues, would see that, I'm creating content? What if my content is not liked? What if I don't have anyone, who would comment or like it? Or so many other outside voices. It's always interfering to the people who they want to create their first content. What if I'm doing a grammar mistake or a spelling mistake or
We have AI for that. I always proofread my content because I'm not native AI speaker, and I always do mistakes. And I ask ChatGPT, please check for any spelling or structure or other errors only, because I don't want to change my pod only.
That's really
Otherwise, it's making AI style.
That's really great. I remember when I started back in 2019 to create content on LinkedIn, and of course ChatGPT wasn't there, um but it was funny. I was also a newcomer to the country, and I wanted to make sure that that it's okay. I'm not writing something that it's wrong. I was new to the whole, community, so I was really mindful. I remember my first post, at least I read it like 40, 50 times, and I was not able, to press post because I was so scared that what if something goes wrong? What if I'm
It,
not
it,
saying the
it,
right thing? And I
it took
remember that
me two
that was
weeks.
terrifying.
I It was terrifying. I remember it took me 2 weeks, and I think it was Monday that I said, "Okay, 1, 2, 3, go." And it was
Fantastic.
already 14 days passed, and I was still thinking to push that button.
Okay, so
So
I'm
yeah,
happy
it's
that I
scary.
wasn't
The
the
first
only.
time it's scary, but yeah, and now I see my first post and I'm like, oh my God, how people read this thing. But you get better over time. If I never started, I wouldn't get better. That's the point. You need to give yourself some time. And if someone doesn't like the post, so what? All the business proposals that I had were from people who never interacted with my post. None of the companies or the people I collaborate with, uh, except from you, I think, never interact with my post. So you never know on which person's feed that your post will appear. It's what they call the silence audience. And most all of the opportunities come from there. So don't worry about who likes, who comments, couldn't care less, really, honestly, and you should, and other people shouldn't care about that. It's a very wrong metric. Number of followers. Oh, I'm not growing. Who cares? If only one right person see your posts, just don't post what I'm saying. Don't post simply textbook knowledge that can be found everywhere and everyone is posting about. Do something that you would read if you were in the industry.
Absolutely. Like one of the things that I always, like tell myself is that what is attracting me to read someone else's post? Is it their graphic? Is it the video? Is it the content? If I'm attracted to someone's post to read, I need to create the same thing for myself, or get that inspiration and create the same way, because that is how I like to consume the information. And I would know that there would be other people who are like me, would like to have the same way of consuming the information. So yeah, I totally agree with you. Anna, I know that, like you have inspired so many people to create content, but let's go back from the basics of, like if you want to give an advice to someone who wants to create a content and it's their first week that they want to create content, what would be the first advice that you give them? What would be, let's say, a roadmap that you think that it would basically help them and support them, to create that content?
First of all, is don't underestimate what yourself. Don't when I started growing, people started following me in the beginning. I told myself, what do people find useful in my post? I mean, I don't know anything that they don't know. That's what I thought. But when I started receiving messages and telling me, well, thank you, and I'm learning a lot from you, and I was like, learning from me? I was like, and then I realized that things that for me were ordinary, and I thought that everyone knew these things. This was not the case. That was far from true. So, yeah, don't stop believing that there's nothing you can share with the world. There are things that happen to you during this week that didn't happen to anyone else. So share something that an experience you had this week, something that you have learned this week, a tip that someone told you and inspired you. Write why Susan's post inspired you, what you like from anything. That doesn't have to be, and let's not everyone become AML educators, or let's not everyone become assisting business owners grow on LinkedIn. Let's find something that we know and people might be interested in. But even I would recommend start with something general. It may not be AML, and then when you become more comfortable, you can divert to a specific industry. AML, it can be fintech, it can be LinkedIn development, it can be leadership, it can be anything. Start
Absolutely.
posting, but something that cannot be found elsewhere. This is what I insist on. That's why I said an experience you had this week, or a tip you shared, or something that you like that somebody else said, and anything. This is what I would advise someone to do. And as you become more confident in creating content, then you will find your field. But start from somewhere.
Yeah, I could add to that that first of all, don't be scared. Uh, as you have heard, like me and Anna as well, that we had our first post was the most one that we feared of posting. So just it's gonna be a terror barrier in front of you, not letting you uh, grow. And you just need to crush that. You just need to break that barrier and just do something. Uh, because that one post that you create could impact one person. And if it could impact one person, that one person is going to have ripple effect on so many others. So just think about what could your post can impact one person. If it could impact that one person, that should be enough for you. um, and how you're educating others. That is all the same thing. Think about it's not about you. Writing these posts is not about you. It's not about you finding followers or having people, like commenting on you. It's about how much you're providing your valuable insight or your inspiration or your experience to others so that it would impact them. So it's about others when you're posting. It's not about you.
And I would like to add on that, and it's a mistake that companies are doing. They tell their followers what they want to tell them. They don't write to benefit, to give value to their followers. They are writing about company's event, about new partnerships. Okay, these are good, but what value do you give to the audience so they have a reason to follow you? Okay, so there must be a balance between the two. Now, let's be honest, with the new algorithm update, publishing simply educational content from a company's page unfortunately doesn't work, but there are other ways to attract the right audience. Now, as on a personal level, it's the same thing. When you write, don't think, oh, I want to tell them A, B, C. Think what happened to me, let's say this week, that is interesting for someone to know. So make it again about them.
Absolutely. Yeah, best advice. Um, for me, when I post on our TCA LinkedIn page, or when we try to do a company page post, is all about the community. How can we impact the community? That's what me and my team always focus on. What is the value that we can give to the community? We can organize, best events, but it's not for us, it's for the community. The newsletter that we publish, the other, the conference that we organize is all about the community and
That's why
showcase.
you're successful.
That's why, like we love, and that's why I want, our company, and it has been as our first mission to, we are a community center, kind of, thought, that, we have always the community in center of our mind whenever, what we do. So yeah, like this is the way that you all have to, think about it. And if you have a company page, or if you have the um, your own page, personal page, think about others, think about the community, because that is your um, kind of value that you can add to others.
Indeed, yeah.
Absolutely. So, one thing that I have been asked quite a lot, Anna, it has been, how do you stay positive? How do you keep yourself, having a positive attitude, specifically when some people might put, some negative feedback or negative comments on your post, or like even sending it to you, through your DMs. How do you overcome that, and how do you stay positive?
Well, from the very beginning, when I started posting on LinkedIn, I expected that at least half of the people who interacted with my post would be negative, but it's only a very, very small percentage, not even percentage. It's a very, very small portion of the audience. I mean, you always, when you do something, even if you don't post, there are always people who will not like you. You cannot change the world. You can only change yourself. We have to accept that there will always be people who don't like us, and to live with this. I mean, we shouldn't be people's uh, pleasers. But we should focus on what we do and the positive things that we listen. I would say, surround yourself with positive people. Thank you, Susan. You're encouraging me a lot when I want to quit because it's not easy. But yes, having around you people who are supporting your work and believe in you, uh, that's something great, but it doesn't come overnight. You have to show that you deserve this. I mean, you deserve their time, you deserve your attention. When I started in 2021, I was looking you posting, and I said, "Oh, this woman! Oh my God, I wish I could talk to her." And Stephen also, Sergeant, also, I was looking, oh my God, he's doing a great job. I wish I could talk to him, but I never bother anyone with messages or anything. And, and now we are, let's say, very close friends, and many other people, because you appreciate what I do. So now the negative comments, people think that I care a lot about because of my content, the way I reply. Some people may think that I care a lot about what other people say. No, I don't. I really couldn't care less if people don't like what I do. But I always treat people the way I would like to be treated. For example, if someone misunderstands my post and attacks me at some point, I'm thinking, okay, if I was him, how would I like to be treated? And I reply, if I reply, sometimes I don't even reply. Silence is gold in some cases. So it's okay. Let people have different opinions. No, it doesn't affect me. Or if someone has a problem with something I said, it's not my problem. It's his problem. Why should I burden myself with the problems of other people? I was doing that for a long time in the past. I'm not doing that now. I have moved on to another level. And sometimes some people are really not worth your time, your energy. They are trying to drain your energy. Why give them this type of? Why make them happy? I mean, I simply make a step back and stay there. I have tried to help a lot of people, and unfortunately, very, very few people are willing to put the effort. And when, again, it's a waste of energy. So I'm very careful where I give my energy, where if they approach me for free, things, free webinar, seminar, whatever, I'm very careful with my at this. So when I'm approached for free sessions, webinar, or anything else, I'm very careful with the collaborations I select. Now it must have some benefit for me or my business also, because yes, I mean, I already dedicated a lot of my time in creating free content. It's impossible to spend another how many minutes, hours per week for free content to benefit someone else. So you also need to understand that people will try to benefit from your experience, will ask you for free things. There, you will need to find the balance when you accept and when not.
Yeah, absolutely. Like having that balance is very important in what you do. Trying to give and at the same time receive. If that balance, get out of balance, always not gonna be helpful for your business and also the value that you want to provide to other people. So if you want to really, get something, let's say from Anna or from other people, you have to think about what value first you can add to someone else before asking for their help. And that really helped me a lot in any kind of, relationship or communication that I wanted to build, because every single message that I get on LinkedIn is about, oh, I require you to do this for me. Can you find me a job? Can you find me a position? Can you do this? Um, and a few a few people come first and ask how we can help and support you. And those are the people who would grab our attention, who would be the ones who we would take the time to respond or to, get to know them, that, wow, they are different than the others. They don't want us. They don't want us to do something for them at the beginning. They are ready to provide value to you first, then receiving it. So always, I think, in any kind of relationship, either on LinkedIn or face to face, always think about what can you do for the other person first. Um,
Yes.
and then you would be able, to create a longer lasting relationship. Fantastic, Anna. I love our conversation. I love the insight that you're providing. Tell us more about what has been some of the biggest challenges as a woman that you have experienced, and how did you overcome them?
As a woman, I never paid attention to people. I never do. I never did pay attention to people who, either underestimate women or wouldn't promote women. I wouldn't say that in my career I had this type of issues. But I did have some challenges like all people. I have described my journey in a bank. No matter, I was feeling that I was punished because I was too good. And they didn't want to let me go. They told me in the face, they told me in the face, we are too good to let you go. Okay, so I'm here in the same position for 14 years. Yeah, that was one of the biggest challenges that I had to face. I had some other also challenges with in other companies that didn't actually wanted to do the right things. In this case, you're doing your best and then you move on if you see that things, as I said, you cannot change others. You can only change yourself. If you cannot find the balance, then the only option is to move on. And it needs a lot of courage. But if you want to protect yourself as an AML professional, you will need to do this. I told about creating content, how difficult it was for me to start creating content, but the benefits are huge. The reason I am here now is because I post consistently. Okay, the first 6 months I was reposting things. I was actually playing with the platform. So I started in the middle of 2022 to really create my own content. And that's where things have started really taking a good way. And, before that, I was doing the same mistakes that everyone was doing. I wasn't doing anything to differentiate myself from the rest when I was looking for job. And now I understand why they didn't hire me. Simply sending a CV, oh, please help me find a job doesn't help. No matter how desperate you are, don't care, employers don't care. So these are another challenge that I had until I started attracting employers. And after I had that opportunity and got one job, I got another offer and then another offer. Of course, I'm not the type of person that will change jobs. I stayed in that company, but opportunities come. So yeah, that's it. I believe those were the challenges. And of course, another challenge is that when you're um, a freelancer and an entrepreneur, there are cases where there are times where you want to quit. Here you need someone often to lift you up or say, okay, I'll give it another try. And it's, you rise and fall, let's say. It's this type of, sometimes things are good, sometimes things are bad, sometimes things are very bad, and you need to find new ways. And that's why I'm trying different things until I see what works. That's another big challenge, finding new things out of nowhere. And as I said, it must be something that nobody else did before. It's really hard, but the more you try, the more uncomfortable you become, the easier it becomes over time.
Absolutely. Love that because you're thinking outside of the box and you're thinking, in a way that, like no one else would think. And that challenge you and that help you, to become more creative, more thinking of, things that have not been thought about before. And yeah, as you said, like being uncomfortable is actually push you to be in a place that you can create more. And that creativity needs to happen. If you're comfortable, you would not push yourself, to do more of that or to create more authentic, post or um, even, like if you want to build something, it's the same thing. You have to be uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. So you have to challenge yourself always, to grow.
Yeah, that's very true.
That's fabulous. What would be the advice that you could give to someone who is starting in the AML space and they are fresh and new and they want to start their career on AML? What would be the first advice that you would give them?
So if you're starting in AML, probably it's very difficult to find a job. And why is that? Okay, you may find some assistant job if you're lucky, but usually these jobs are filled. All companies have this type of positions filled already with people. So if you're starting now, you'll have to face two things. One, that the fact that you don't have experience, and second, the fact that you don't have knowledge. Now, you can go and take a certification. I would recommend don't start with an expensive certification. Why? Because if you're involved in this industry, it's a very challenging industry. And you understand that this industry is not for you because AML is not for everyone, you lost your money. So what I would recommend, get a basic knowledge. Ideally, find a job in a regulated entity, in an entity that is subject to AML, maybe not in AML. As I was in a bank, I was a customer service officer, cashier in frontline employee. Then, okay, maybe it's not like that. Maybe you can find a job administration in a law firm. Lawyers in many countries are subject to AML, or you can find a job as an administrator in a fiduciary company, ASPs, TCSPs, I think you call them in Canada, in the US, or in any other type of regulated entity, in a role that has some touch with AML. This will enable you to understand, to get a basic understanding. And then you can ask to be more involved in AML. Can I also do that? I really enjoyed that. Can I continue doing that? For example, start from a side role, let's say, if you cannot find a job in AML. And because the best area to start from, if you ask me, is frontline employee in a bank. But if it's not possible, frontline employee in any company, and slowly, it will take months, may take years, but it's easier for an employer to use an internal employee to do some things than employ someone else from the outside. And you will have to create the opportunities to slowly enter in the AML industry. It's let's say on a side job, find in a job in a regulated entity as an administrator or other relevant role to get some touch of AML, show some interest then, and you move on. This is what I would recommend. I wouldn't recommend in any case to get an expensive certification. I got my first expensive certification, know how many years after. I think I got last year maybe. I mean, the best AML professionals that I know don't have any certification, but they have extensive experience. Now, certification is, for me, a verification that you already know something. Okay, so yes, it's important. But yeah, this is what I would advise someone, and I did advise a person to do that. She did that and she found a job finally. And she also did some AML on the job that she landed. So this is what I would recommend. Be smart. Now, certification in the beginning, a cheap certification to get some type of knowledge might be useful.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like, first of all, think about if you have the passion to be in the industry or not. Because if you don't have the like or the passion to stay in this industry, it's not gonna take you far. You really have to love what you do. It's very, very important because that is gonna empower you to do even more of what you want to do. And you're absolutely right. If you don't need to go for expensive, certification at the start, but you just need to test the water to see that, do you like this area? Are you good at it? Are you finding it interesting? And if you don't, there's no point of, getting more certifications or spend your time on it. Do something that it empowers you more to do. So yeah,
Certification, a good certification is um, a good certification is a good idea for those who have decided that this is what I want to do.
absolutely. And this is where you want to pursue your career on.
Yeah.
Think beyond 5 years, 10 years. Where do you see yourself?
And
Uh,
this industry, being an AML officer, has a lot of challenges. It's not only investigation. You will have to challenge the management. You will have to explain why you have to decline these multi-million customers, and you need to be able to justify that and discuss with that and challenge them. And it's not easy. It's not that, okay, I'm doing KYC, I'm opening up. This is not AML. AML, for those who progress in the industry, yeah, and it's hard. It's hard to go and tell the management, no, we shouldn't accept this customer, or we should be doing that, we should invest in that. And you need to justify, you need to be prepared, like you prepare to do a seminar or presentation. It's hard, it's not easy, and it's not for everyone.
exactly. I feel that, all the compliance professionals need to have what we call a good negotiation skills, and also need to remember that you have to be in sales because you're selling compliance, not in the same of, selling product, but you have to convince. It's not about like the selling concept is about convincing your idea or convincing them to buy in what you are saying. And if you don't give them enough reason to accept what you are saying, or negotiate with them to understand why are you telling them that you have to follow this rule or you have to get this documentation from the client, who could be a very wealthy person who you don't want to even go close to or ask them personal questions. You have to have that negotiation and that power to pursue, to persuade them, to make sure that they understand where are you coming from. So that
Yeah, and
this is a very
it's very difficult to do that if the CEOs or the board are 50, 60-year old, and you're a 20-year-old guy trying to convince them to implement some things. So that's why you need to have sufficient experience, and negotiation skills uh, can develop over time. You see what works, you see what doesn't work. There's no way you don't do mistakes. You have to do mistakes to get better. But yes, negotiation skills are extremely important, and you need a lot of practice, and you learn through trial and error.
yeah, absolutely. I love that. Thank you, Anna, for sharing amazing insight. Tell us a last thought, a last piece of advice that you would like our audience, to hear from you.
Whether you're new in the industry or not, I would say that create content will help you show to the world who you are. So do that. Don't think what other people will say. Anyway, when I started posting, I was thinking, what's the worst that can happen? 0 likes. Okay. So what? What did I lose? Nothing. So start doing that. Create your personal brand, and even if you don't see now the results, at some point you will see the result. I repeat that. Start with a tip something that you read and you like, something that you saw, an experience, anything. It can be in any field. Doesn't have to be email. It can be at any field, and then slowly, you can divert your content towards a direction. The other thing that I would recommend, experience AML professionals. We need your experience. Nobody knows everything. I don't know everything. I learn from people. So show your expertise. Share with the industry your experience, what you have learned so many years. We need more experienced people to start creating content. And if you think that it will take much time. It will get better over time. I mean, doesn't take me that long now to prepare posts like I did in the past. But yeah, that's what I would advise. And we have already discussed about if someone wants to enter the industry, find a side role. If it's hard to find an assistant role in AML. In no case, don't get a highly executive position in AML if you don't have a lot of experience. That's the last thing that I would recommend, because I've seen companies employing young people in AML roles, AML officers, and they are responsible for the department. They don't have experience, and at the end it's very easy to find themselves in trouble. So yeah, be careful. If you don't have sufficient experience, don't take big responsibilities. That's my last tip.
Mhm. Thank you so much, Anna. That was really insightful. I really appreciate your time for spending with us and sharing such an amazing advice. And definitely, whoever wants to create content and they're scared and they want to get inspired, and just tag us on your posts, and we would be happy to support you, happy to support your first post that you're gonna create. We love to help more women creating more content. So please, whenever you do that, like keep us in mind, and we would definitely love to help and support you to create more and be part of, the other content creators who would inspire more people and educate the community more. Thank you for listening in. Thank you so much, Anna, for being here with us.